Hey everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of Frostpunk, which was originally part of a stream that aired live October 18th. Let's get started. So, the very quick synopsis of this game. It is my CI survival in RimWorld. This is very, very similar, where you're mostly fighting the cold than anything else. But it's a game where you're designed to fight the cold. Oh, he's getting cold. You're designed to fight the cold as enemy of sorts. And yeah, that's exactly what's going to be going on. All right. So let's start.
We roam the still, cold world. No horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
We fled London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. On the way, our convoy was hit by a blizzard and scattered. A handful of us managed to reach the site of this generator, only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there any others out there? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst now that the world as we know it has crumbled. Alright. Well, that's ominous. So the entire game is basically about this steam generator. This coal-fired generator here. We need to get this generator working. It provides heat and power to other buildings. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Stockpile some coal and start the generator. That is my first mission. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to keep it paused. Let me explain some key elements. So the coal generator here burns coal. Burns coal very, very, very quickly, in fact. We have the construction menu, where at the moment I can build tents for people. I can build medical posts to help heal them if they get cold-related or work-related injuries. Food. Cookhouse cooks raw food into meals, and hunters' huts generate raw food. Resources, gathering posts gather resources around them. Resource depots store those resources. And then workshops, which is your research. Before I even start, I want to also open up the Book of Laws. The Book of Laws, initially just the adaptation laws, allows you to enact laws that might be unpopular, but might help you live longer. Now, right at the start, most guys will tell you to enact child labor laws, basically allowing you to put your children to workforce. But there are some negative consequences. Children will get sick, injured, perhaps even die. I want to poll you all whether you want child labor or not. If you take a look down here, right now we have 50 workers, 15 engineers, and 15 children, but the children will do nothing unless we put them to work. Now, I also want to say about the ramifications of these choices that you're all going to be voting on in just a second. At the end of the game, when the credits roll, the choices that you've made, like putting children to work or banishing criminals, they will all be weighed against you for a difference of endings. So there are very rarely the golden endings where you did everything perfectly, everyone was happy, and hope overcame despair. And there's a lot of other endings in between. So first things first. We're going to decide whether we're putting children to work or let them play and learn. That is the first poll here. Just type 1 or 2. And while you're at it, I just want to thank everybody that has been donating community sub gifts and bits. So let's see. Oh man, there is a list now. I'm trying to scroll all the way back. All right. Glitch, Tooth, Frank, El Coco, Camasia, Dennis Keith for the resub, Matt, and T-Sing just most recently with 10 community gift subs. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Okay. It's pretty clear that you all say, let them play and learn. So I won't enact child labor laws. Instead, what I could do is say child shelters. I can build a child shelter, and it gives a permanent hope bonus instead, now that you've decided that. So I've signed that, and children will spend the day in shelters. All right. So right as we start, the most important thing I would say initially is to get resources, namely coal. So I'm going to set up a gathering hut here, and the gathering hut's going to need a road to it. And then before I even unpause anything, I'm going to set other workers that I have to gather wood. Now, these individual piles I can gather manually, but there is a bit of a penalty doing it, especially when it's colder. When you're working in a gathering post, you will stay a little bit warmer because of the building, whereas gathering piles manually like this will make you colder. So there is a trade-off. And right now I am deciding on gathering stuff quickly for the trade-off of potential injuries. And here we go. Work is proceeding. So as you can see, the workers here are trudging through the snow to build this road, and then eventually this gathering post. And then all of the other people that are queued up to work these crates and steel wreckage are also trudging through the snow, likewise. Right now, I have 80 homeless. One of the dangers of homelessness is when you don't have shelter, you will freeze. Now, this is especially bad at night, because during the day, you're at your work posts. And if your work posts are heated, that's not much of a problem. But then at night, people will freeze to death if not properly cared for. Let me speed it up to 2 speed. Now, we can enact laws on a cooldown. So I'm not going to be able to enact another law. But the next law here could be medical apprenticeship, so that our children help out with medicine, or engineer apprenticeship, where they help out in workshops. Alternatively, we can enact a law of emergency shifts, which lead to extended shifts, and I'll talk about that once we once we get there. Now, I know I don't look like an 1800s Londoner, but this is about as toasty warm as I could get. So here, as you can see, the lumber piles, the scrap piles, and this post is allowing us to collect resources, which are accumulated at the top of the screen here. Coal, wood, steel, steam cores, raw food, and food rations. Now that I just paused it, now that this gathering post is done, I can say, hey, I'm going to put 5 of my workers and 5 of my engineers. Now, engineers are just like workers, but they are also allowed to do some specialty jobs, like be medics or be researchers, whereas workers can pretty much do every job, and they're required to do certain jobs like hunting. Engineers can't hunt, for instance. All right, so now this hut is gathering coal. And what I can do is put another gathering hut here and another gathering hut here. Instead of having them work just in the snow, we'll allow them to have a roof over their heads. I also want to get my first workshop. And I'll put that there. So right at the beginning, your generator is only going to generate heat a little ring around the initial generator itself. So what's most important is to provide, let's also provide a medical post. What is going to be very, very important is to provide housing closest to the generator, because otherwise your populace will freeze to death. That's, as you might imagine, not a preferable thing to have happen, right? You don't want to freeze people to death. And now I'm creating roads out to the gathering posts. -20 is chilly. I have it in Celsius rather than Fahrenheit, which is funny because we are technically Londoners, but whatever. We'll let that roll. It's nice even numbers when you're playing in Celsius. All right, I will speed time up now. Thank you, Pinpoint, for the additional 5 community sub-gifts. Celsius deserves a cheer. Alright. I'm also going to free up some of my workers here to help construct. Now, you can also do construction at night. There's a little bit of a risk of doing that at night, where you can get... Alright, let's pause. You can get very, very, very cold at night if you're forced constructing. But now, here we have a workshop built, and we can start researching. So, initially you're at Tier 1, drawing boards. We can research Steam Hub, heaters, Beacon, which I'm going to be doing. Beacon is a reconnaissance building to build. And then resources here. Well, there's a pretty good argument to be had for faster gathering, actually. So let me abort this and start with faster gathering and then go Beacon. I also haven't built that child shelter yet, but I will. I have a little bit of time. I have 2 days and 13 hours left to do it for me to reap the rewards of it. Occasionally, you will be given the chance to talk to your populace. So, this person says, hey, we have no roofs over our heads. And I can say, I'll provide some shelter. 2 days to provide shelter for 40 people, or 2 days to provide shelter for 80 people. Everyone's going to be sheltered. What's funny is there's about 80 of you watching right now, so you're all getting shelters over your heads. All right, 1, 2, 3 to start. Actually, I'm going to do 2 to start, so I have a little bit of extra wood for research. But this is obviously going to be a big push for me to make sure that everybody gets roofs over their heads soon. Now, at this moment, I have no one sick. And let me pause it. I have no one sick, so I'm going to turn off the medical post until I have sick and injured. It's more efficient to treat them if they need treatment. Alright. Wisdom of the crowd. Captain, when facing demands, remember this. People usually look for the quickest solution, not the best one. You don't have to agree with everything they ask for, If you fix the problem your way, it's fine. And the heating is off, and it's now nighttime. So let's turn this heating on. At steam generation level 1, I need 6 coal to turn it on. It provides 1 temperature in all heat zones, and I am consuming about 144 coal a day. So if I look at the heat overlay, as you can see, the steam generator now is generating heat in its innermost ring, which is now, as you can see, melted snow. This is sort of the key of this game, of course, is to deal with resource scarcities. Another thing I'm going to build back here is another post. And I don't have the wood to connect the post up. I'll wait. Okay. So here is our first night. We have a lot of homeless people because I didn't get a ton of houses built, right? But all of these guys are going to huddle around the generator to sleep as a community. And I've got 1 day and 19 hours to provide shelter to them, which, might I say, is really not that tricky of a thing to manage, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I'm queuing up all the people that were here salvaging the wreckage by hand to go for wood crates next. And I can introduce a new law. Alright, so Normally I would push towards extended shift. So emergency shifts is that people work for 24 hours straight, and it's very, very, very upsetting. It will create a lot of discontent. Once you unlock emergency shift, you can also unlock extended shift. Extended shift just has you work 14-hour days instead of 10-hour days, and that's a little bit more manageable. So I'm going to have you vote on whether I work towards extended shifts or I work towards apprenticeships. So let me create the poll. What laws should I enact? Extended shift, medic, apprentice, or engineer apprentice. There's your options. So the advantage of medic apprentice is that the children will help make medical facilities more efficient. Engineer apprentice will make the workshops more efficient. And the extended shift allows me to have any working building to work longer hours at a little bit of discontent, but with the benefit of a longer working day. Generally, I put my workshops, which is the research buildings, on extended shift, but I'd like for all of you to decide. Okay. It's leaning towards extended shift, so that's what I will do. We can always enact a law in the future for apprenticeship. So initially when I sign the emergency shift law, it will have a temporary discontent here, as you can see, because it's a temporary modifier of a controversial law. It doesn't necessarily mean they're on 24-hour shifts. I would have to hit this button to make it a 24-hour shift, which then would really trigger a lot of discontent. But I don't intend to do that unless I'm in a true emergency. Straight to corpse disposal. Hey, I'm going to try to keep people alive here. So now, I'm going to pause it. We do have 4 people sick, so it would be ideal for me to take 5 engineers off of this wood crate pile and put them into the medical post to help cure those sick people. And they're sick because they're homeless. There's a direct correlation between, and hey, you know, this might be true in real life, but a direct correlation between the sick and the homeless. And I'm going to set up another house here. Another day, another shift. Well, that's life. Yes. Yes, it is. I'm going to do everything I can to save as many people as I can. Do they eat without a table? Yes, they actually do eat without a table, technically. Alright, so here we go. We are moving towards work time. Now it's 8 in the morning. Most of these buildings work from 8 to 6. And another thing I'm going to do is build another workshop. Now, the buildings here have to be adjacent to roads in order to be operational. So we need a pretty good network of roads. Luckily, the roads don't physically take up space, which is good. All right, and they're warning me that I'm out of wood, but we have a ton of people collecting wood right now. So that's only temporarily true. So let's get the rest of the tents built. We need 5 more houses. 1, 2. And only my people that are currently unemployed, which are none, would build those houses. So I'm going to take the engineers off this wooden pile so they can start building the houses for everybody that is wanting them. And they're, I guess, initially going to go to the workshop. That's all right. All right, let's take... No, I'm actually good with the distribution of work. Family torn apart. So, sir, a woman come forward after we built the workshop. She said that her husband and daughter didn't reach the city with the main group, but she's sure they're still out there. She wants to join the first scout team we'll send out. She urges us to hurry. Got it. Well, currently we're researching faster gathering, but after that it will be beacons. Go Finn. Yeah, true. A Finn would know that winter is coming. Alright, there is all of the houses I require. This here is another research workshop, and I'm going to throw 5 engineers in there. It also means that no buildings will progress because I don't really have a workforce at the moment. So we just researched faster gathering. I would say one of the most important things that you have to do playing this game is to get your beacon up and running so that you can have scout teams as fast as possible. Scout teams is really what's going to keep you alive. Here's another warning about food. The generator hums with reassuring warmth, but we shouldn't take it for granted. If the generator goes down, the city dies. Be mindful of core reserves. Now, food. There is no city if we starve to death. Secure a way to provide raw food and build a cookhouse to provide meals. Good call. So, in food here, I can build a cookhouse. A cookhouse allows us to cook raw food, which is up here. I have 100 of it. I start with 100, into food rations. So I'm going to get my cookhouse built as well. And the work day is now over. And all the people that were previously working are going to then come together as a community and build these homes to get rid of my homelessness. And then I also want to put a child shelter. I will put it here. Now the child shelter only houses children during... so here's the extended shift. Only houses children during work hours. So it doesn't need to be heated throughout the night. Which is important. Very, very important to note. Alright, so there is the shelter promise fulfilled. Everybody feels relieved with a roof, even a flapping one over their heads. Hope raises because I've fulfilled a promise, and discontent, I don't know why I keep calling it that, goes down. I'm also going to put people to work in the cookhouse for tomorrow. Now, you only really need to have people working in the cookhouse if you have raw food to cook. And then here is the child shelter that I promised. And they need to build a little bit of a road. Hello, road guys. Road crew. We'll get there. There's like something wrong with this road. There, I think it's connected now. And my researchers are going to be put on extended crew, meaning they work longer hours, which they're really not going to be thrilled about, but, oh my god, this stupid road. The street isn't connected to the generator. Okay, one second. It's being fussy. Let me blow up the street and then rebuild it. Okay, so we just researched Beacon. I'm going to queue up my new research, which will be probably Steam Hub. What a Steam Hub allows is it is a way to generate heat in a area of effect outside of the center core, but it will take its own coal. With the Beacon research, the Beacon allows you to send scouts out. The Beacon does not need to be heated, so it's really in your best interest not to have it anywhere near the center of your ring, right? Put it way outside in the middle of nowhere. It's totally fine. It doesn't need to be anywhere near the center. It's not one of those buildings that need to be heated. Children are cared for because I got the child shelter built. So hope goes up again. I fulfilled another promise. And another thing I want to do is put a hunter's hut. Now, just like the... let's put it here. I actually don't plan on using these coal deposits, and I'll explain why later. I'm going to put the hunting hut out here. Again, hunting huts don't really need to be heated all that much because your hunters don't stay in them. They get deployed out to the map. So there is really no point in having prime real estate earmarked for hunting huts. I did just get a ton of additional populace here, as you can see. They depleted all of the resources in this area here. So I'm going to put 15 of them on these wooden crates and 15 of them on these wooden crates and work towards getting a gathering post for this resource. But what I'm doing here is I'm breaking down this gathering post now that there's nothing to gather in this area. Because if there's nothing to gather, why employ someone to, work something that isn't doing anything? Also, this cookhouse is... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. This cookhouse is totally done cooking all of the raw food that I currently have. So I am going to turn it off until I have more food to cook. The children thank me for their shelter. And I also have a book of laws. I can enact another law. So, the next law, I would say, would be between medic or engineer apprentice. So the advantage of medic apprenticeship is if I get wounded, they heal faster. The advantage of engineering apprenticeship is I research faster. Now, it's possible that if I keep everyone warm and safe, I don't actually need to do a lot of healing. So the engineer apprenticeships are kind of always useful, and the medic apprenticeships are only useful if I am sick. That would be the key differences between the two. Now, it is very difficult to keep everyone healthy because they're constantly going to try to freeze to death. I mean, everything is trying to freeze them to death. However, I do find that engineer apprentices are maybe a little bit more useful. And it seems like you all agree with me, so let's pass that law. So now children can be used to help speed up our workshops. They're going to be a little bit more efficient. So if you read the law here, education is the key to our future. Let's teach our children engineering so they can help out with new designs. Children from child shelters will help workshops speeding up research. I love the picture here. It's like just a little kid like, here, sir, here's your hammer. It's like, thanks, but I needed a flathead, so yeah. Alright, we almost have the beacon built, and we just researched Steam Hub. After Steam Hub, I am going to go to the drawing boards. So I'm going to save up for 50 wood to go drawing boards. Actually, no, I'm not. We're not going to get enough wood by the end of the day. So instead, I'm going to research a sawmill, which will help us acquire more wood more quickly. With basic resources secured for now, we can try to rescue people we left behind, build a beacon, scout Frostland, and save as many survivors from the expedition as possible. You'll need a workshop to design plans for more advanced buildings. And the beacon is built. We are no longer lost and blind. From now on, our people will be able to survey the icy barrens that surrounds Frostland. So what this beacon is basically a stationary hot air balloon that sits in the sky to help our scouts find their way back home. Looks like that. Like that. Now, personally, I would just use a compass, but, you know, whatever. Alright, so the really, really important thing for me to do now is to take 5 workers off of something and to go to the beacon, and once I have the wood, which currently I don't, get a group of scouts. So I'm planning on scouting tomorrow morning. That's going to be really, really important. And I would say investing early in scouting is very, very key to staying alive. So I also just put 15 of my hunters in the hunter's hut. And they work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. They have flip-flopped work hours. They hunt at night. Ready to search. People cheer as the giant observation balloon soars above the city. This is a real feat. Everyone feels proud of the work that they've done to make it happen. Volunteers have lined up, eager to go looking for lost people in Frostland. The woman who came forward earlier is among them. We need a win. So now, my current quest is to rescue survivors of our lost expedition. If you recall, a blizzard hit and we were scattered. And if you take a look at the map here, there's 2 points of interest I can go to. And one of these, the Lost Expedition, is obviously the more important of the two. You can also see that the temperature is about to drop significantly. Very, very, very soon. And I, at present, do not really have a very good way of dealing with that. So I'm going to have to research ways to help with that. One of the things I could do is steam hubs. But if I don't currently have the steel for it. Oh, also, let's go ahead and dismantle this street. That returns to us almost enough wood for a scout team, actually. Alright, so here we go. People are returning to work. And the cold is coming. So now, with the cold here, as you can see, the houses around are going to be a little bit colder. And the work centers are going to be colder. And what's going to be really, really important is for me, I'm going to, instead of risking... I'm going to have to risk a little bit. But instead of risking the workers that work in these wood crates, I'm going to pull them off. I'm going to set up a scout team and send the scout team to the Lost Expedition. And I'm going to have to be very, very careful with these workers because they are going to get injured really, really quick. So what's going to be key for me is for me to try to get a sawmill built as soon as I am able. So let's put a sawmill here. And then as soon as I have the wood to build the sawmill and build a road to it, I'm going to pull all the workers on this junk pile off so they don't freeze to death. That's going to keep us from injuries and sickness. So here's the sawmill, and the sawmill is pretty chilly. I am going to need to invest in heaters, but at least we have a roof overhead while we work. If they build this road. Here, I'm gonna kick all the workers out and hopefully... Oh, they didn't build the road. Great. The scout team just hit the Lost Expedition, where we have found survivors. And instead of sending the survivors to the city on their own, I'm going to escort them back. It's the safer thing to do. Rather than just say, good luck, I'm actually going to bring them myself. My goodness, sheeple. Please, build the road. Why am I having such issues with roads? Yeah, let me dismantle this road and rebuild it. Because I don't have enough wood. Well, I'll just have to gather some manually. So the scouts have now returned safely with the initial workers, or with the initial survivors. And here they are, coming up. And our population is going to boom as a result. It's heartwarming to see families reunited after so many hardships, but shouldn't there be other settlements nearby? The first expeditions left London long ago. They ought to be well established by now. They surely help to find our footing. So my scouts here are going to go to this sturdy shelter next. And I'm being told to search for others. Find another settlement. I will need more houses now. I have 35 homeless. I don't currently have the wood or the heating to offer anything to them. But what I can do temporarily is kick my generator into overdrive to produce a little bit more heat around it to keep the people here a little bit warmer. It does add wear and tear, stress to the generator. And as you can see, that's not a good solution long term. But for now, it'll have to do. All right, so now we have enough wood to properly connect up this sawmill. And I'm going to get, just because I'm fed up waiting for more wood, I'm going to get another sawmill over here. So once this road is built, there we go. Now we have an income of wood that won't constantly be fussy. And as soon as we get this other sawmill up, I will put additional wood towards research. I want to get another scout team pretty much as soon as I can. So this gathering post just pulled the last of its coal around it. I'm going to set up a gathering post over here. Once I have the wood for the road. And then I'm going to have to figure out how I want to permanently gather coal, because gathering from piles that exist on the surface is not a long-term solution. It just isn't. As far as laws go, I don't currently need to enact any, so I'm going to wait on it in case there is some sort of emergency where I have to act. So as far as research goes, let's see. Hunter's gear would allow us to get a little bit more food per hunt. But no, I actually want to save up for drying boards, so let me not. I'm going to agree to provide all shelter for everybody. And I've got 1 day, 23 hours left to do that. I'm going to stop stressing the generator here. All right, let's see. Let's add heaters. Research a little heaters. Or no, I'm going to abort that and just save up for the drying boards. I hope to get to a point where I have a lot more survivors than viewers. So, we got to the sturdy shelter, and there's wood, steam cores, and food rations here. Steam cores are non-renewable, or mostly non-renewable resources that you can build advanced technologies with. That is, I think, the best way to think about them. You can build advanced resource gathering facilities or giant robots. One or the other. Okay, so with all the wood that's coming in, oh man, that road is just perfectly in the way, isn't it? Alright, so the temperature has gone up a little bit, which is good. It's going to keep people healthy. Now, I do have some sick here, so I'm definitely going to want to treat them quickly. But with my new amount of wood, let's get our tech up, and then let's start to get some houses to fulfill that promise. Now, while we were searching towards Winterhome, the bridge towards Winterhome has an automaton. What I'm going to have you do is, should I use automatons? Yes or no? This is a very, very important decision. So if I use automatons, it's a giant robot that can work certain facilities, and they don't need to be heated. They just recharge on steam generators, or I can dismantle it for steam cores. And the choice is going to be yours, whether I focus on automation or not focus on automation. Should I engineer a solution or not? Wow, okay, everybody says do automation. Pretty much everybody. All right, I'm going to send the automaton to the city, and then send my scouts towards the weather station. And hope falls a little slightly because the bridge was found to be deserted. They are worried that Winterhome is dead. Let's go with... Oops, that was misplaced. The last two shelters that I've promised to provide. And I just unlocked the next tier. So my shelter promise has been fulfilled. Hope has risen. And the next tier here is going to allow me to research more scouts. More scouts are going to be really, really necessary. Alright, yo, people. Your road system, whoever my transportation, they suck. They're doing a really shoddy job of making these roads. There we go. So now I have 3 workshops. That's a lot of workshops. It looks to me like I'm going to need to turn on my cookhouse again. And let's go ahead and get some additional food. Now I'm on, right now I have a fairly limited amount of coal at my disposal, and pretty soon I'm going to run out. So I'm going to need to get a renewable resource of coal as well. There's another coal pile here that I can tap to, and I'll close this poll. Yeah, good call. Let me, raise the volume just a little bit. Let me know if it's too loud, but the soundtrack of this game is terrific, so I'm going to do all that I can to have it play. So I do believe that everybody minus 4 engineers are employed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the engineers in there, and actually, yeah. Now I'm going to be asked to warm these houses pretty soon because they are not warm. Search the weather station, and let's go to Winterhome. And Hope abandons seeing that weather station emptied. Alright, I do have a few too many sick people building up that I fully acknowledge. I'm pushing for scouts, which is a little costly. What I could do is I will run a bit of an overdrive here. Keep people extra warm. Alright, more scouts. I'm going to pull 5 off of there. I need a little bit of wood to run another scout team, and I usually just run 2 scout teams. Tends to be enough. So here's my second scout team, and I'm going to send them stuff down this way and up that way. It's really just 2 directions. Alright, and heating. I guess the range would be really, really, really helpful here. But I think first I am going to get a coal thumper. We are running low on our available coal that we can pull out of piles. So it's going to be really, really important for me to have some sort of permanent solution. And then I want to make everyone warm. Which this is probably what this is about. You'll have to keep regular shifts everywhere for 3 days, sure. I agree to that. My researchers got tired. Alright, Coal Thumper's researched. Next up, it's going to be range 2. Posture check. Alright. I see how it is. You don't want me hunched for the cold. Alright, so we just reached Winterhome, and this is going to trigger a significant event. We found Winterhome, which we were hoping was sort of the solution, a long-term haven for us, abandoned. And there is no hope, is what they're saying. I don't like that. So we are on our own. So, here is a very major decision to be made. Everyone is going to lose hope. Winterhome has fallen, and I have to give them purpose, and the way I give them purpose will be up to you. There's 2 choices here. We have to pick a path. One of order, and one of faith. Order uses guards and police to keep everyone on the path towards long-term survival. And faith and spiritualism uses priests. And the choice between these 2 is up to you. They're 2 somewhat similar trees with their own different benefits. And we have to be very, very careful about how far down this path we travel. Oh, this is a tight vote. This is a very tight vote. I would say discipline and order, slightly edging out faith and spirituality. So, the first thing in the purpose tree is the neighborhood watch, which is building watchtowers. The Church of Yoda. Okay, so here is a watchtower, and the way they work is all that they pretty much do is keep order within the homes that they are built upon, I guess is the easiest way to put it. And I'm going to put my first 2 here. But eventually I'm going to probably move them around for a better sphere of influence. But my scouts here at Winterhome have nothing to do, so I'm going to head over to the freshwater springs next. And as you can see, my hope, because of the fall of Winterhome, is very, very low. People are at their dreariest right now. And this person is saying, the unconvinced want to leave. So here is sort of the mid-game crisis that we're actually starting pretty early, which is called the Londoners. Essentially, people that are dissatisfied with our community will want to leave, and they're called the Londoners here. And I have 14 days left to deal with the Londoners, and right now, the current trend is that people are joining the Londoners. So I have to be very vigilant about how bad that gets. Alright, so here's my first watchtower. And as you can see, watchtowers can employ engineers or workers. So I'm going to kick the workers that were currently working in the cookhouse and put them in this watchtower. And then this other watchtower, I'm going to pull workers from my hunters and put them in this watchtower as well. And hope has risen as a result of active watchtowers looking over people. And I obviously need some additional watchtowers on the other side. That will have to do for now. And we found, in the observatory, we found survivors, so I'm going to escort them to the city. Any chance I have to escort anyone, I will take. Okay, I do have some gravely ill people, so I am going to get a medical post out here as well. But there's a lot of other research that I need before I'm really going to be able to help anyone. And let's turn off the overdrive. Actually, we'll wait till the morning. And more people have joined the Londoners. So now 11 of my 115 want to leave me. And here is the automaton that you all told me to go get. And the way these work is... I mean, there's a whole tutorial here, but I'll tell you. They initially work at lower efficiency, but they fill up the entire work area. So I just put the automaton to work in this sawmill, and that frees up my 10 workers for other things, which is great, because now I can move some guys around, right? That is the simplified version. For them to recharge, I'm going to need some additional tech. I'm going to need the steam hub. So actually, speaking of steam hub, I really need steel. I'll have to get steel next, or just focus on people picking this steel wreckage. But there's not a lot of wreckage there. Alright, and scouts just returned safe to the city. So, here we go. These scouts got there, and they found extra survivors, and these scouts are going to head to the northeast, because they just came home. So I have some additional homelessness. Here's what I'm going to do about that. What am I currently researching? Generator range? Yes, that's pretty much what I wanted. Alright, so let's get some additional homes here. Then what I'm going to do is... I'm going to purposely put the homes near my watchtowers. So that they can be watched over. Alright, so generator range just got researched, which means the second ring around the generator is now heated. But as we can see, there is a temperature drop coming in. So I'm going to want to make sure that I generate some additional heat out of this generator as well. All right, come on, build those roads. It's been really the bane of my existence here. Okay, the road's done, and we have a order event. So the neighborhood watch here had a timely intervention of a child climbing in the generator, and the guards saved the kid's life, essentially. So that was fortuitous. Oops, I didn't mean to cut the road that far. There we go. All right, put tent here, put a tent here. That will make everyone a roof over their head. All right, so steelworks. There is a steel node here that I can utilize. And everybody that's working in here, I'm going to turn this off and send you home. I have maxed out amount of coal right now. So I'd rather have them working somewhere else. And let's queue up a new research. Let's take a look. I am going to work on medical post upgrade. Because I do have some sick people, and I'd like to cure them. And then I'm also going to put a hub here to keep these buildings warmer. Right now, they're pretty cold. I also should research heating tech. But this additional heat should help to alleviate some of the sickness that we've got. And now I'm going to agree to stockpile food. Alright. Luckily, I do have some additional workers to be able to do that. Now this is a coal thumper. It generates coal, but the coal needs to be gathered. I'll get it built. Yes, I'm almost out of food. I'm not that worried, though. Let me just build one of them, because I don't have the lumber for the two. I'm almost able to enact another law, and I'm probably going to want to enact a order one. And we just had our first death. So let's open the Book of Laws, and I need to wait 1 hour to sign, but we'll have to put someone... We'll probably sign for cemetery, rather than just, like, piling up bodies. Okay, so here we are. Adaptation would be for cemeteries, and I'll sign for cemeteries. Hear me. And I'm going to build one out here at the edge of town. Okay, so these people are becoming ill, mostly due to cold. So that's something that I can definitely engineer a better solution. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my engineers in there, and workers to hunt in here. I want to pull some additional engineers off of other facilities so they can have more hunters. And now that should pretty quickly remedy my food situation. Just moving people around. And our scouts have arrived at the American camp. There's nothing here, so I'll just keep moving out. Thank you for watching the very first episode of Frostpunk, which originally streamed live on Twitch October 18th. In the stream, I managed to actually beat the entire base game, actually twice, in fact. And as a result, I have a poll up at Rhodomont.com, which will determine what Sword of Frostpunk stream I have next, whether it is playing the Endless mode, playing scenarios, or playing some of the DLC content. I'll also include the link to the poll in the description of the video, and it was an info card at the start as well. If you'd like to catch a live stream for next week, just go to Rhodomont.com for this schedule. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch y'all next episode. Adios.